Hey everybody, welcome to my mentor session. It feels like it's been a long time, but I guess it was maybe just last month, as it usually is. I'm also back in Florida, so I had a good time in New York for 11 weeks, which was a little bit longer than I had anticipated being there because we're having some work done on our house here in Florida, but now I'm back home in my office in Florida. So happy to be back. So you guys will see the same background as before. All right, well, let's just jump into it. I've got a couple questions here to move things along, and let's just go. All right, so first question comes from Josh Sirimintaro. Great last name, Josh. How do I know what questions to ask mentors when I don't know what questions to ask? Incentivize is a new e-commerce business in the FBA retail and online arbitrage space. We are new, and I just don't know what questions to ask you mentors in order for me to grow my company. I want to learn and want to get guidance, but I am a little stuck knowing what to ask. We are pretty much pre-revenue and just starting with the company. If it helps, I also have a full-time job, so I am doing this on-off hours with hopes to possibly quit my job someday. Cool. Great question, Josh. That's a great way to start out. That's not knowing what questions to ask, so ask what questions should you ask. So when I first saw your question, two things jumped to mind in how I like to ask questions of mentors and peers and things like that. I usually do it for two reasons. One, for some specific technical reason, because I'm stuck with something like, oh, I need help with this specific thing and I don't know where to go or how to get around it. And I talk to somebody who has that experience and who will know what it is. So that basically is where the issue is kind of directing me who to talk to and what to ask. And I'll get to more specific details here in a second. The other thing that I generally like to do is I ask people to share their own experiences. So like you're right at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey with this business. And so one of the questions that I would ask in this particular case is to have a mentor or a peer or whoever share their experience when they were at that same stage. Like, what was their experience like? What were the things they ran into? What were the feelings they were having? What were the roadblocks they ran up against? Just from their own experience. Because then we can look at it as the person who's asking the question and then get, kind of connect that with where we're at. And then that's a great way to kind of like start the machine, basically, as far as where you're ending, where you're starting. So I also like that because sometimes, entrepreneurship can be a real roller coaster of on and off. Like things are going well, things aren't going well, and like you're, always kind of in this up and down roller coaster. I also like asking people for experience share because it makes me feel better, kind of from an emotional perspective. If I'm feeling down because something isn't going well, when I ask all my buddies about, hey, have you ever been in this position or this situation? And they say yes, and they tell me about their situation and what happened in their deal. Even if their specific story doesn't get me out of my situation, I just feel better because I feel like, well, I'm not the only one who's gone through something like this. And it just kind of makes me feel that kind of camaraderie and connection to other people, which makes things better. So it's okay to ask for specifics, and it's also okay to ask for, hey, just generally speaking, where are you? How did this approach? Where were you in this particular time in your entrepreneurial journey? So I like that very much. Great question. Next question. Michael Wilding. After you buy into a business, how do you quantify that you have got your investment back? I bought into ticketscene.ca a year ago, have been working at it, and I have just quit my day job in April. So now the business is paying my wages, but it is only paying what I would have made in my day job. At present, I don't believe this is getting my investment back. You are absolutely correct, Michael, and congratulations to you for actually realizing and putting those two things together. I know entrepreneurs that have worked for 20 years and don't ever make this opportunity cost realization. That's what you're talking about. The technical term for what you're talking about is opportunity cost. So what you're telling me is you put a certain amount of dollars into the business and you expect those dollars as an investor to make a return, to produce money. So if you do work or not, no labor, just the actual fact that you made the investment, you expect the business to make you money, and that's exactly what you should be expecting. And what you're asking is, well, I just am now working in the business, and I've just replaced my income, so that's the same income that I could have got working for someone else. So you are absolutely right. Technically speaking, you are making zero return on your investment, which honestly is not terrible, because a lot of times people are working for a negative return on their investment, and or their opportunity cost, they don't factor that in, meaning like they start a business and the business pays them $30,000 a year, but if they would have gone and got a job doing the exact same thing working for someone else, they can make $100,000 a year. Their opportunity cost is the difference between the $100,000 they could make and the $30,000 they're making doing the same work. So they're actually losing $70,000 a year in terms of labor output that they're investing into the business. So if you've put a cash dollar investment in and you're working and getting paid roughly the equivalent to what you would be paid to work somewhere else, and you're at zero return on investment, it's not great, but it's definitely not bad. You're moving in the right direction. So it's very easy to quantify your return on investment, especially if you actually put real cash in. You also need to technically take into account your real time investment as well. If you quantify that, you technically could do that, but just keep it simple. In this example, let's just only talk about the dollars that you put in. So let's say you put $100,000 in to this business. If you're working and getting paid, and then there's money on top of that, and then that money is discretionary, you can spend it in the business or you can take it out of the business. Take that number divided by the amount of money you put in, and that's your annualized return on investment, assuming that we're talking in annual numbers. And then that's your return on investment. Now, there's two ways to look at how you need to quote unquote get your money back. You either earn your money back, where you say, look, I don't know how long this thing is going to last. We're not infinitely growing something that has any real enterprise value. So I actually have to earn back my investment, meaning I have to make money and then earn it back and put it in the bank until it equals the amount that I put in. And then any money beyond that is technically profit. And, I've learned back my initial capital, so I'm good to go. That's one way to look at it. Most companies don't look at it that way. Most companies look at it like, this is a capital outlay. I put the money in, I invested it, and now I have cash flow from it that's producing me money. And as long as that machine keeps running, the enterprise value is still the value that I put in. So I don't have it in cash, but I have an asset that produces cash flow, which therefore is value that still exists. It's just not cash that I can sell to someone else. Because if I have an asset that produces cash flow, I can sell that to someone else because it's worth something. So you have to be mindful of that difference too. There's a difference between earning your investment back in terms of like, oh, I got cash back in my pocket, and growing an asset that has value that I can still count as an asset just the same as cash. It's not cash, it's something else. It's a business in this case. Just like it would be real estate. Like, when you put money into real estate, you don't have the cash anymore, but you do have, this asset that is worth equivalent to cash, some number. Very good point, though. Everyone needs to keep that in mind. Pay attention to your opportunity costs and pay attention to your return on investment. You should be having two hats. One as the work that you put in, as the operational entrepreneur, as well as the finance investor entrepreneur. And those are two different hats, and you need to look at them differently, separately, not mushing them together, which is a mistake that most people make. Rohit Gupta. Is it necessary to have your core values, mission, and vision statement and your why visible for customers to see? We are getting a storefront in a couple months and wonder if this will make customers loyal to the brand. I think the way that you show your core values, mission, vision statement, and why to your customers is not necessarily just to put it up on the wall. You can do that for sure if it makes sense within your brand and what you want to convey to people. But the best way to show those things is to actually live them. People should be able to experience those core values and why, for sure. They need to experience those things. Like they need to have that interaction with you. Because if they just see words on a wall, it's not going to mean anything. Like if one of your things is be nice to people, and then when they walk in, everybody's a real jerk to them, then it doesn't really matter what it says on the wall. So that's why you have to be able to convey these mission and vision and values and why and all that sort of stuff. And then any employees you have to have proper training and a good culture that also through them conveys all that stuff to your customers. So putting it up on the wall in actual words is kind of up to you from a design choice. Nadia Subjek. If someone wanted to invest in me to open a salon suites business, how much percentage would I have to give them? I'm currently in a salon suite as a hairstylist looking to expand to own salon suites. That's a good question. So it's all about risk reward, right? So a lot of times, depending on what the risk is in terms of how much, like if they're investing $100,000 and it's possible that $100,000 will be worth zero 6 months or a year from now, they're probably going to want more of the upside because they're taking all this financial risk. Now, if they're investing $100,000 and at the end of 6 months, even if everything goes bad, they can still sell and get $50,000 of their $100,000 back. Well, maybe that helps, mitigate that risk. So it's really going to come down to how much risk they're taking and what the outcome potentially is. Because what investors hate is when somebody says to them, you take all the financial risk, 100% of the financial risk, and if it goes badly, you lose all your money. But if it goes good, you only get 20% of the upside. Because, so then basically the entrepreneur or the person raising the money gets all the upside with none of the downside financial risk. So people don't generally go for deals like that. It also depends on what your business model you're pitching is. And are you talking to professional investors? Are you talking to friends and family? Because that all makes a difference too. Friends and families, generally, you can be a little bit more flexible with in terms of like what deals they'll accept because they want to support the person just as much as they want to get a return on their investment and make money. Many times they want to support the person even more than they want to make money. So to answer your question more specifically, if someone wanted to invest in me to open a salon suites business, I guess I would ask the question, what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to like buy a building, build it out as a salon suite, and then lease it up and then run it, as a landlord? So that would be just kind of like a landlord type deal. So like on that, usually there's a preferred return on their investment, some number that's meaningful, 12% something, plus maybe a 50-50 of any upside above that, or a 80-20, depending, like as you become more bankable, meaning like your business model's proven, you're proven, you can put, you're de-risking basically by being, already have an established track record. So you can ask for more in your favor. In the early stages, you have to ask the guy, if they're bringing the money, they're going to determine a lot of the, the deal structure. But, I love the salon suites business model. It's basically a landlord. It's a real estate play. So if that's what you're talking about, and depending on the scale of that and how the business model looks and what the pro forma looks like, you could probably get somebody in there for, 12% preferred and then a 50-50 on anything above that maybe, or maybe an 80-20 for this first round. Like let's say you're going to open up a facility, the first one here, maybe you get an operating management fee plus 20% of the upside after the 12% preferred. That might be a good deal for somebody. Again, depends on how big it is. It also depends if there's a bank involved. If you're buying a building, you're going to have to sign with the bank, and the fact that you brought money in from the bank, that puts some risk on you, which is going to be good from the equity investor's perspective. So it just depends on the specifics of the deal. Okay, Carrington Crothers. What are ways to incentivize word of mouth referrals. I run a product photography agency, and whether it's through current clients or networking, what are good ways to incentivize people who share your information? Are there different techniques for different types of connections, such as current clients versus non-clients, local networking relationships, etc.? What I have found with referrals is that unless the number is significant and the person is actively like coming in contact with your customer base all the time, I haven't had a lot of success in that scenario where they don't fit those requirements. Like basically, if I ask someone to refer me because, hey, here's a $50 gift card, is the person really going to refer you because there's a $50 gift card, or because I'm I want that $50 gift card? Now, if somebody said, I have a $500,000 gift card for you, I'll certainly remember that probably. But for most people and most referral deals, from a B2C type perspective, or even a small B2B perspective, those sorts of numbers don't jog anyone's memory. The best word of mouth situations that I've had is when the business is so outstanding at what it does that people automatically are sharing the information. So basically that you're so keyed into your target market that they are spreading the word on their own because it's like the best opportunity for them, and that they're making maximum amount of value from working with you, that they want to share that with other people. So step one, I would say, make sure that you're giving your customers the absolute best experience that you can, because it's that experience that's going to make them remember to give a referral, because they're going to want to just talk about it because they're so ecstatic about it, or because they're so connected to you in some way and they're so enthusiastic. That's one. If you are going to give some sort of referral, like an actual gift or reward or something like that, I don't know. I probably don't have any really great ones, like just off the top of my head, anything particularly interesting. I would say that the best way to get referrals and the word of mouth is to make sure that you're doing, you're operating in the top 5%, top 2%, 1% of your industry and whatever it is that you do. All right. That is it. That's everything I've got on my list. Good to see everybody. I'm glad to be back in Florida. I will see you all again soon. Bye now.